Hey, English teachers, this is Albonetti here to talk to you about the SAT. I want to show you how you can help students prepare for both the PSAT and the SAT, and I'm going to walk you through a passage that's literature focused just to explain the concepts that I teach to the students. So I'll begin by telling you what I tell the students regarding how to attack these passages. This is a reading comprehension passage written by Virginia Woolf, and it has, I think, 10 questions attached, as you can see here, 32 to 41. I tell students to begin by reading the first 3 questions. They don't need to read the answers, just read the questions so that they know what to look for in the passage. So the main purpose of the passage is to, so now they know they need to answer some kind of overall summary question. Number 33, the central claim of the passage is that, similar to question 32, but they're just going to look through these claims. 34, Woolf uses the word we throughout the passage, mainly to. Now they know that they need to look out for the word we when it shows up. If a student can read through more questions and still keep the questions in that student's brain, more power to them. 3 is enough for me, so I tell students read the first 3 questions so they know what to look for in the passage. Second step is for students to look for vocabulary questions. Let me see if we have any examples. Aha, question 40 is a vocabulary question, and what students should do is they should look for the word that's mentioned and then circle it in the passage so that when they encounter the word in the passage reading, they know that they need to define it. So lines 70 and 71 uses the word sixpence. So let's circle them. So when students read the passage, they know they need to define these words. They can put a synonym in their head, whatever works for them. So first step, read the first 3 questions. Second step, circle vocabulary. Third step, I encourage students to read the introduction, this portion. They should read it because it's going to tell them what type of passage they're going to encounter. The title of the passage typically tells them, is it going to be science-based, history-based, literature-based, etc. It also tells them when it was written. The older passages are usually the hard ones. So if a passage was written in like 2002, it has updated language, but something written in 1789 or 1861, even 1938, it's going to be a little more difficult for the students, and especially since Virginia Woolf's writing, she does not play around, as it were. So students just need to get their brains ready for a challenging passage. So first step, read the first 3 questions. Second step, circle vocab. Third step, read the introduction. Fourth step, I stole this one from Mr. Sealand. Read the first 10 lines. And if a student understands what's going on after the first 10 lines, just keep going. But if the student is confused, the student should start over. I say this because I don't want a student to become confused around line 60 and then feel like he's got to start over or she's got to start over, because you're wasting your time at that point. So if you need to start over, you should do so at line 10, not later. Then the students just answer the questions. I want to keep this video as short as possible, so I'm not going to read the entire passage, but I want to give you time to read it on your own, you folks in the video world. So I'm just going to post it, and you can just pause the video to give yourself time to read. I will keep this screen up and then scroll down so you can get the bottom of the first column, and then you can get the second column. So I will give you time. Feel free to pause the video as long as you need. And there's the second column. So assuming that you've read the passage, I'm going to walk through it and help you see what I do to help students understand these passages, so that you can use this information possibly in your classes. So question 32, the main purpose of the passage is to, and many of these answers are plausible, but only one of them is correct. And let me show you where we find the correct answer. So B says stress the urgency of the issue. And if we go to line, what is that, 8? It says, now we are pressed for time. Now we are here to consider facts. Now we must fix our eyes upon the procession. So the answer is B, because Virginia Woolf wants to stress urgency. 33. The central claim of the passage is that. So again, a fair number of plausible answers. However, 2 of them are less plausible than the others. So B and C are just not correct, and students should walk through the answers to figure out which ones are obviously not correct so that they can focus on the 2 that are close to being correct. So B, Woolf never mentions women giving up traditional roles, and she has less to say about the male monopoly on power and more to say about what opportunities women now have. And so the letter D looks close, but she doesn't talk about how women's entry into roles will change the roles. She says more about the decisions that women have with these new opportunities. So moving on, Woolf uses the word we throughout the passage, mainly to, and students should have encountered the word we multiple times through their reading. And this question, it's more of a vocabulary question. Really, the SAT people want to know, do students know what that word means? Do students know what that word means? Honestly, if they know what solidarity means, they just know that's the correct answer. If they don't, then the student's likely going to get this question wrong. 35. According to the passage, Woolf chooses the setting of the bridge because it, A, is conducive to a mood of fanciful reflection. Fanciful reflection is irrelevant in this passage. Provides a good view of the procession of the sons of educated men. B seems too specific, but let's just put a little mark there. C is within sight of historic episodes to which she alludes. D is symbolic of the legacy of past and present sons of educated men. So C is the distractor answer, because the beginning of the passage, Woolf mentions historic, maybe not events, but historic like locations. But at the beginning of the passage, she says that the bridge on line 6, it is a place to stand by the hour dreaming, but not now. Now we are pressed for time. And then in line 9, now we must fix our eyes upon the procession of the sons of educated men. So the answer to 35 is indeed B. Even though it seems hyper-specific, it's the correct answer. 36. Woolf indicates that the procession she describes in the passage has come to have more practical influence. That just doesn't seem relevant at all. B has become a celebrated feature of the English public life. She doesn't say much about features being celebrated. Includes all the richest and most powerful men in England. We can assume that's possibly true, but she never explicitly says so much. Has become less exclusionary in its membership. I mean, it looks like D is correct because we've crossed out the other 3, but the benefit to this question is that we have 37 here that allows us to confirm if 36 is correct. So I tell the students that if they get one of these paired questions, these type of questions, they should actually be thankful because they know that the answer to 36 has to come from one of these 4 sets of lines. Now, it turns out that the answer for 37 is C. I'm going to take you back to line 23. Woolf says, for there, traipsing along at the tail end of the procession, we go ourselves. At line 23, and when she says that, she means women, and so therefore this procession has become less exclusionary. It includes more than the sons of educated men. Onward to 38. Wolf characterizes the questions in lines 53 to 57 as both. All right, this is another question where you have a paired question, and you can use the answer to 39 to answer 38. So let's go back to 53 to 57. She says, in line 53, for we have to ask ourselves here and now, do we wish to join that procession or don't we? On what terms shall we join that procession? Above all, where is it leading us, the procession of educated men? And then the moment is short, etc. So this question is pressing because when she says it needs to be made now, and it's momentous. It's an important question. So C is the correct answer. And for 39, the line that supports C would seem to be line 57. Let's go back. Let me show you what the tricky thing the SAT people are doing. Line 57 says the moment is short. That's it, those 4 words. The moment is short. So line 57 supports the pressing component of question 38. But line 57 does not support momentous. The answer that supports both momentous and pressing is, I think it's line 48 to 49. Let's check. Line 48, and they are very important questions. That covers momentous, and we have very little time in which to answer them. That covers pressing. So the answer 39 would seem to be C, but C is actually a distractor. The answer for 39 is B. Moving on. 40, which choice most closely captures the meaning of the figurative sixpence referred to in lines 70 and 71? We can cross out tolerance. It doesn't quite fit. Perspective doesn't quite fit. Let's go to lines 70 and 71. It was thus that they, women of the past, won us, women of the present, the right to our brand new sixpence. It falls on us now to go on thinking. How are we to spend that sixpence? And think we must. So it seems like knowledge would be the answer, but knowledge is actually the distractor. The answer is opportunity, and it's opportunity because she's talking about, not about what what she says women will do, but what decision the women will make as they see this procession of sons of educated men. So question 40, it's opportunity. It just fits better into the passage rather than knowledge. 41, the range of places and occasions listed in these lines mainly serves to emphasize. So 72 to 76. Let us think in offices, in omnibuses, while we are standing in the crowd watching coronations and Lord Mayor shows. Let us think in the gallery of the House of Commons and the law courts. Let us think at baptisms and marriages and funerals. So she lists a number of locations: coronations, shows, House of Commons, law courts, baptisms, marriage, funerals. And so that variety of places communicates how pervasive the need of critical reflection is, how ever present it is. And so this question is essentially a vocab question, testing if the students know what the word pervasive means. Anyways, thank you for your patience, English teachers. I hope that by you seeing this passage and seeing these types of questions, you're able to see how you can help your students prepare for the PSAT, prepare for the SAT. This one passage came from an actual SAT test, but the PSAT provides a similar style of question. The questions are just slightly easier, not by much, but slightly easier on the PSAT. So if we give students passages like these, ask students questions like these, we'll get them ready for the big test. Thank you all for your patience. Have a wonderful day.